Hello and welcome, my Gemini collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. Welcome to your work, career, and vocation read for January and February 2021. I'm your reader, Markangelo Lyons, Mal for short. Professional witch, professional intuitive president of Drawing the Circle production since 1998. The Archangel of Lyons, Markangelo Lyons, but you can call me Mal. Hi, my gems. Outrageous, truly outrageous as you are. My honor and pleasure to be serving you today. Let's get to work, career, vocation, shall we? This is a general read. Please take what resonates, leave what doesn't. For Gemini in Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, obviously we are doing a 3 levels of power reading, which can be done for so many different aspects of life, but we are looking at the 3 levels of power in terms of your life service, your life purpose, why you incarnated in 3 different ways, all connected: work, career, vocation. All right, 3 different levels of power: eau de toilette, cologne, perfume, right? The physical world, the mental, emotional world, the spiritual. I'll explain it all as I go. We're doing 9 cards, 3 from the Caroline Myss archetype deck, the voices of my collective pantheons, 3 daughters of the moon to look at what's going on inside of you as you go through this, and 3 mythic tarot to see what's going on outside of you in your work, career, vocation. So the overall archetypal power being developed, alchemized from lead to gold, your interior experience, and something going on the exterior, which could also be how you are appearing, hence a general read. All the decks that I read are always in the description box below, along with other cool links, and one by Caroline Myss, who I learned, MYSS, this is her archetype card deck. It is on the 3 levels of power, and it's from the way back when. It's really well produced, and we'll give you a little bit more insight into why I do these. I do these for relationships. I do these all sorts of health, healing, chakra alignment stuff with my clients. This is specifically about work, career, vocation, as I said, and I'll explain as I go. Cool. That's about it. Stay in the present moment. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. You know the YouTube rules. Let's do this. Please take a nice deep breath. Yes, all of that explanation just to get to that first breath. My collective pantheons, my beloved collective pantheons of angels, goddesses, gods, ascended masters, and the higher selves of all involved. Please, I need 3 cards for this Gemini collective. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign in their work, career, vocation, January and February 2021. Please, where are they in their work? What they do to survive, their survival intuition, the lower 3 chakras, root, sacrum, solar plexus. Where are they? What's going on in their career? Heart, throat, third eye, crown, their personal level of power, mental, emotional, their passion, their hunger, their thirst, right? Their creative intuition. And 1 card, please, for their vocation, their calling, 8th chakra, spiritual power, visionary intuition, truly the soul's calling them forward, January, February 2021. Let's have a look. Work, career, vocation. Oh, well, you got 2 royals in here. You know, we could have been royals. You got the Don Juan, interestingly enough, in the work place, survival. We will talk about that in a minute. You've got the Knight, K-N-I-G-H-T archetype in your career, and you've got the Queen in your calling. So we're really looking at a very powerful, seductive power, I guess, that's a little redundant, being refined in you, alchemized through how you are how you're working in the world, how you're making your money, how you're paying the bills, your creativity, your calling is the Knight, a lot to do with romance there, but also romantic delusion, and your vocation having to do with the Queen. So you've got a wild card archetype, a masculine family archetype, and a feminine family archetype. So we're off to an interesting start here. These cards are supposed to be a little bit triggering, sometimes a lot of bit triggering, depending on who is watching. The shadow and the light archetype. This is what your soul power, you are alchemizing this particular flavor of power as a result of your interaction with the physical world in terms of work. The shadow attribute Using the power of romantic attraction for private agenda. A Gemini? Oh, unheard of. Are you kidding me? No offense, but you gems, you can woo, wait, whoa, right? So keep an eye on that shadow. The shadow is what you don't want to look at within yourself, or if you know about it in yourself, you don't want anybody to know. So obviously, a private agenda is just that there's a list of intentions and desires that you have that you're not letting anybody know. And do you know what they are is really important, because if you don't know what's in the shadow, it can take you over at any moment. And afterwards you go, I don't know what came over me. I'm never like that. It's like, the light attribute spotlights your positive seductive qualities. And you know, a good salesperson, you know, or a good person in public relations, right? Social media, if they have the Don Juan archetype in the light, they could sell an Eskimo snow. I know that's probably racist at this point, but you know what I mean? It's like they could sell you yellow snow. They don't mean the one kind. So very interesting thing there. So already that kind of says that even physically, you have a sort of seductive quality about you, but are you aware of it? In your career, the Knight archetype, Knight's quest. Now, like the Knights in the Tarot, they are about action. This is the masculine family of archetype and not the action family of archetype. The shadow attribute, allegiance to a destructive ruler or principle, romantic delusions. So often in people's careers, they will unwittingly, right, give their allegiance to a destructive ruler, meaning something that goes against their honor code. So, because Knights, like I don't want to say black, white, white, like, and that's racist now. But if we go back to Arthurian legend, right, you've got Lancelot and you've got the Black Knight. Now, the Black Knight was black because of the element of earth and Morgan Le Fay and all of that. But certainly he had an allegiance to a destructive ruler. Now, read Mists of Avalon, you'll get a whole other different take on that. Thank you, Marion Zimmer Bradley, Goddess Rest Your Soul. But with romantic delusions alone, right, you could be like, well, you know, in this corporation, I know they're doing horrible things, but like, if I can just, I'll be able to do that. You know, that kind of stuff, how we kind of sell our soul, although you can't sell your soul, you are a soul. But the light attribute, loyalty, romance, and chivalry, a love of honor. Now, why couldn't that fuel your work life, right? The idea is about getting these eventually into congruency or alignment, just like getting the eight chakras in alignment. So really keep an eye on your heart, right? Your honor, your courage, a love of honor, to do this above board. If not by the book, then at least by your own honor code. Like, what is it you will do and you won't do? Because you're definitely on a quest here. If you are out of work, because that kind of could be this very easily, right? It's like, really good. If I'm going to get the job during this crazy time we're in, I'm going to be like a knight. I'm going to charge in. I'm going to do the best that I can. I'm going to be romantic as fuck, or at least seductive as fuck, right? You know? So this is like, this is great. I mean, this is lovely. And with the Queen archetype, now remember, none of my readings are ever gender-based. Like, I know so many trans people who are friends. I'm an ally. Look, as long as you're not hurting nobody, I'm okay with it, right? You know, just be to thine own self be true. Done, right? I'm gay. Duh. I have a strong dose of the Queen archetype, but a lot of men will, you know, shy away from that, and yet it is so powerful. Now, catch the shadow. Now, this is spiritual power. The shadow attribute becomes arrogant when authority is challenged. Off with their heads. Controlling and demanding. Now, from a spiritual power point of view, right? From an 8th chakra point of view, that is something that may not pop up in what you consider your business life, right? Or maybe even your career. But there's an interesting thing there that I am feeling. I mean, it so resonates with the divine regal feminine, which is the light attribute, radiates the regal feminine, uses her benevolent authority to protect others, right? So even in the tarot, the king are the cardinal signs, right? Let me not name them right now. They'll probably pop up in the reading, right? The kings are the cardinal, the queens are the fixed, the knights are the mutable, right? So with each element, you have the 12 signs of the zodiac. So the kings go off and conquer. They're cardinal. They push the boundaries through conquest, right? They're creative. They create. The queens are fixed. They take care of everything inside the castle walls, right? The keep, the court, the runnings of the everyday thing, and of course the law. So there is that benevolent authority to protect spiritually. I'm going to say get in touch with the regal aspect and keep your eye on that haughty queen, of which I have worked for so many queen archetypes and I didn't know why until I realized, oh, I've got the queen archetype dominant lifelong, but because it's in Cancer and my 12th house, I had no idea. I had no idea. So talk about shadow work, the shadow queen, right? So to me, that's Hera, right? I named my mom Hera because she's a lifelong queen archetype as well. Inheritance of power, at least. So interesting start. Let's keep going, particularly because we have such a strong dominant feminine family archetype. We're going to really go without clarifying too much. We're only doing 9 cards. There's no extended for this one because these would go on forever. Let's see what the Daughters of the Moon Tarot says about what's going on inside of you, right? You're more like the mental, emotional, your experience of it that you may or may not be sharing with people. Please take a nice deep breath. My goddesses of air and the sign of Gemini, please. I need 3 cards for this Gemini collective sun, moon, rising, Venus sign in their work, career, vocation, January and February 2021, please. 1 for their work, the Don Juan archetype, 1 for their career, the Knight archetype, 1 for their KNIGHT, their Knight archetype, and 1 for their Queen. You know, I just got to say, a Don Juan, a Knight, and a Queen, there's a story here. Yeah, of course, it rings a little bit of Arthurian legend, Guinevere and Lancelot and all that. Not the original love triangle, but certainly one of the more famous. But with that Don Juan, you know what I mean? There's like, I don't want to get weird with this, but it's a little juicy, right? The romance and the Queen with all of that power. So let's see what your experience of this is. Oh, okay. The party has turned, and not maybe in such a fun way. You've got the 5 of Blades with the Don Juan, right? So a lot of mental conflict, a lot of thoughts, the hurricane, right? A rapid coming in of new thoughts and new ideas that might have you spinning, that might very well be in conflict. This often speaks of arguments. But the thing about the hurricane is the safest place to be in a hurricane, and this is so Alcoholics Anonymous, in the eye, right? Not just the eye of the hurricane, where is the still point, but to keep it in the eye, right? Know that there are so many thoughts, electromagnetic wavelength thoughts floating through the ethers. I know about the ethers, Guillermo, that it's really easy to get caught up in it. So interesting with this Don Juan archetype, that there might be a lot of communication going on here, but it could be chaotic. But remember, chaos is divine order in disguise. You learn that sooner or later. I prefer sooner. You have got the card of oppression, the devil card. Well, one of the 2 devil cards in this deck, because it is a matriarchal deck. It is a feminist deck, so it doesn't go for all that patriarchal imagery so much. But it is a woman under rocks, right? And the rocks have faces. So this could very much be a codependent situation, right? We are looking at a romantic energy here. Now, people would say, well, you're not supposed to bring romance into work, but in terms of your career, like how many artists, right, career, wait tables, or, you know, whatever they do, in other words, they work to keep a solid foundation, quote unquote, under them, food, clothing, shelter, that stuff, transportation, so that they can pursue their career. But there are not just blocks here. There's fear here that a knight, KNIGHT, needs to conquer. Look, a king, there's only 2 ways to become king. All right, either as a knight / warrior, or as a prince. The prince inherits the power. I'm a prince in my family. I'm the youngest of 3 sons. And if you know anything about the youngest of 3 sons in the royal family, Zeus! But a knight has to do with the conquest and usually conquering their own fears, their own addictions. But because there is this strong romantic vibe here along with the Don Juan, There is something here about romantic delusions that you have to keep your eyes on, even if that's not a romantic delusion about a person, but a romantic delusion about your career, right? To trust that your career is not a mistake. It is a quest. It is a calling. If you don't have everything that you want right now, be the knight that says, okay, then, what can I take action on in terms of what I need? Because you're getting what you need. All of us are. It just doesn't match up with what we want, and sometimes we don't see it. Right? And that's where those delusions can come in. I mean, I certainly have a romantic relationship with my career. I love doing this YouTube stuff, but I've been reading people face to face for decades. So I learned how to do all this stuff as I went. I'm an autodidact, self-taught. So, you know, I love the process. I love setting up the camera and all that stuff, right? And it's not really a knight process for me. It's an artist process for me. Teacher, healer, all that stuff. But there are chains around you. So I see a knight in chains. Alice, sorry, Alice in Chains, it's fine. We got the Four of Cups here with the Queen, so you're a little meh, right? It's called sorrow, but maybe there's been a lot of loss in terms of spiritual power for you in this life. And by the way, you can't really lose your spiritual power, but you might really be feeling like a queen in mourning, M-O-U-R-N-I-N-G. Know that there is always that cup still standing behind you here. That you might be feeling dry spiritually, like, where's my inspiration? I do not know how to lead my people. I do not know right now how to radiate the regal feminine using my benevolent authority to protect others, because perhaps your authority has been challenged, and as a result, you have become controlling and demanding, and some cups got spilt for you. Now, this would be more what's going on inside of you or in your personal world. Again, whether you are sharing this, you are Gemini, so you might keep part of this subconsciously or deliberately hidden, particularly the straining against chains, depending on how much of the deadly sin of pride you have going on. Humility is the grace that heals hubris. It just is. And watch what's going on planet Earth, right? The more we can say, you know, we really don't know, but we're willing to be shown and be compassionate with everybody right now. But in a career situation, that can be really daunting, particularly if you feel like your inspiration, your vocation is a little meh, a little dry, or really in a place of sadness or mourning. These are all connected. You can't separate chakras from each other. They're all, like, just like you can't separate colors from the rainbow in the rainbow, right? They all blend. Oh yeah, you blend. That Laura sent you, Como. Breathe. Such a pretty woman. Please, my gods of air and the sign of Gemini. I need 3 cards for this Gemini collective sun, moon, rising, Venus sign in their work, career, vocation, January 2021. What's going on in the physical world here, really? Like the lower 3 chakra aspect of this. Either what they're dealing with physically in the outside world here, what they're seeing, or how they are being seen from the outside looking in. Both can be true. So please, 1 card. Don Juan with the 5 of Blades, the Hurricane. What's that look like on the outside? The Knight with the card of oppression, the Devil. I also get a strong feeling of family ties here, but I mean the ties that bind. I mean the ties like weight, like the psychic weight of something tribal, right? It might very well be a corporate situation, right? That you are being a little bit weighed down by the weight of what's going on here. Again, your honor code is really key. So please, what does that look like on the outside? I'll take that one. And for their vocation, the Queen archetype with the 4 of Cups in their vocation, their calling. Let's see what they have. 2, 3, and flip a Reno. Okay, that makes sense. How interesting. And wow. Okay, so your work. Remember, you got the Don Juan with the 5 of Blades. So a lot of thought, a lot of communication, a lot of maybe conflicting information too, coming in, like, I don't know, about your industry, about the job market, about communicating, about fax this, you know, fill out this form, do this, do that, do this, do that. And with the 2 of Wands, it just seems very crossroads. Not major life decisions. I save that for other cards, right? But like choices, you have to get really clear on not just what you want, but why you want it. And see, this is what I say. I've done so much work, career, vocation. I'm a Virgo. People come to me because my company, though it may not be, you know, a Forbes 500, I've been in business since 1998. I've always been managed to beg, borrow, and steal, whatever I had to do to keep going, right, as a Virgo. And that Virgo thing's coming back in a minute. But certainly there are times when things seem uncertain. So if it is, in order for me to break the chains of my career, that I have to make a choice here for all of this, then my choice is going to be, let this be temporary so that I can make the money, get the foundation, the food, the clothing, the shelter, you know, all that, the necessities, so that I can eventually break these chains of oppression as the night power, right? Loyalty, romance, chivalry, a love of honor. And if that loyalty is to, right, allegiance to a destructive ruler or principle, right, that's keeping you in chains. But you have another knight, the Knight of Pentacles, the Virgo cards. You have any planets in Virgo. This is telling you you don't have to race through this. In the background, I love this card. Well, I'm a Virgo, of course I do. There are beehives, right? Beehives are not created overnight, nor is the process of making honey full of sting, making honey, right? Comment if you know what that's from, because if you do, I will give you an extra special blessing from Eve. All about Eve. Just interesting here. Look, there's a lot of work ahead of you in your career. It might be that your industry shut down, right? The thing that you were doing not just for money, but that you really put your creativity into, right? So you might have to DoorDash, right? You might have to do whatever is going on here, but as it definitely feels like there's this salesman, Don Juan seductive aspect to this, right? Be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful with that about your private agenda. But if you can go in and say, all right, I'm going to make this choice just to make the money, and in my off time, whatever off time I have, I'm really going to put it into moving through, facing my fears, the weights that are holding me down. It could be, what I mean by tribal is, it could be like you have other people to support. If for some of you, maybe for most of you, right? So there's this psychic weight that perhaps you have put on yourself with this romantic delusion that you're the only one who can save the day. Is everybody pulling their weight, for example? So it feels like this is going to be slow and steady. Your career is not just going to bam, pop right back up. But I feel like this is you. Either that, or work with somebody, or at least career with somebody, that's a good way to say it, who has those Virgo qualities of efficiency, of service, of like me, like an occupation, right? To kind of guide you through. But it's going to be either a building or a rebuilding. Very, very slowly. Here's the tricky shit, right? You got the Queen archetype with 4 of Cups. Now in this deck it's called Sorrow, but it really can be emotional release. Really anything, if you want to talk Abraham Hicks emotional guidance scale, go Google that, that's fun to look at. Depression to joy, this is really more like depression to bored, right? That whole range, like the whole lower part, essentially lower vibrational part, which, you know, those emotions and those voices and those feelings need to be addressed, particularly because you got the moon. It's almost like your own inspiration is so cloudy, your connection to the divine, and I can understand why. You got the 5 of Blades in your work. So that is where it seems most of your focus is right now. Definitely trying to Don Juan your way through these 5 of Blades with the choices that you have in front of you. But I feel like it's temporary. As destructive as a hurricane is, it's temporary. No hurricane lasted forever. Right? It's just the whole world is a hurricane right now. And let's not even go about what's being communicated across the airwaves, both psychically and in social media, etc. Right? Such a confusing time. So I see this here. Now I'm going to say it's okay to be confused. It really is. Really, I'm going to say really, really watch your pride, your hubris. Now I don't mean self-esteem and I don't mean tribe esteem. That's all fine. That's love. But your hubris... toxic pride. Pride goeth before the fall. Haven't you noticed recently? There is really this feeling that, yes, you are guided. This is Hecate. Yes, the card of the moon, but the goddess of the crossroads. I call her the queen of the crossroads, about a major life decision, perhaps, that is coming, but right now has got no emotional oomph to it, or if there is emotionality in it, it's sort of like, I have no idea what to do. I have no idea what to do from an inspired way. Now look, this could indicate, if not the beginning, then some stage of what is called a dark night of the soul. Now, dark night of the soul, I've had a few. Not more than a few. I've had more than my share. But I really went and researched Dark Night of the Soul by, do I have the book up here? Is it St. John of the Divine? I think St. John of the Divine, St. John of the Cross, one or the other. I can't remember right now, right? And really look at it. You're sitting in the palm of the hand of the divine the whole time, but you're being totally transformed. Carolyn May said it great. Spiritual Madness, I think, was the audio. She said that that a dark night of the soul can destroy your life way beyond any capacity you have to do it, right? So it's the hand of the divine. It's almost like the Yod card. The Yod card, the tower card, the tower getting struck by the finger of God, the Yod. But that's not this. This is that card of the moon. So remember your divine feminine power, even if you're a guy, and even if you, I don't know, piss lightning and crap thunder, right? Chew glass, right? You know, bench press a house every day, masculine as can be. There's something here then about leadership, radiates the regal feminine, uses her benevolent authority to protect others. And it's benevolent authority. And that's what I mean. If there is a family situation here where maybe part of you're giving some of your earnings to your family. So many people have been doing that this year. So I can really feel it. Look, play it out. Let me put it together for you. I'll do it in a blessing. Breathe. My collective pantheons of the divine, may this Gemini collective, sun, moon, rising, Venus sign watching this video be blessed with all that they need in their work, career, vocation, that they may find their following, alchemizing the queen archetype, their feminine, regal, royal power, protecting in a benevolent way those they love, to feel the feelings that they have and know that it is okay for it to be clouded, all will be revealed in time. So that in their career they can knight up, they can mount on their horse, sharpen their sword of truth, their shield of virtue, their grace of humility. Wow, Camelot. So that they can break these chains that bind them, release the psychic weight that is not truly all their own, and march forth as the Knight of Pentacles, slow but steady, winning the race in their work, occupation, sixth house, occupation, and health, that they may manifest as the Don Juan, using their positive, seductive qualities here amidst a hurricane, with choices to make that may lead him or her to a deeper experience of just doing what is necessary in the short term until the hurricane passes, where there will be cleanup and there will still be challenges, but the air will be much clearer than it is right now. For the well-being of all, may they be so blessed, so motivated. And so it is. Thank you for watching. Like it if you like it. Subscribe if you want more. Comment if you feel it. I do read them. If you get a thumbs up and a heart at the same time, that's me. And I comment when I have time too. Otherwise, wishing you all the very best and the very blessed in your work, career, vocation, January 2021, or timeless hail. Farewell. And blessed, blessed be.